really excited about the prospect of Comet A3, Tsuchinshan-ATLAS, which we're often calling A3 for convenience, and how it might just be a nice bright object in the night sky in the weeks ahead. Now, this comet, like many comets, comes from a place in the solar system called the Oort cloud, which is an incredibly large distance away, way beyond all the asteroids and planets that we see closer in. And it takes about 80,000 years to go around the Sun, so this really is a unique opportunity to see it. The comet was discovered in January 2023 by China's Tsuchinshan Observatory and the ATLAS robotic telescope system in South Africa. So it's given that joint name of Tsuchinshan-ATLAS as a result. People are also asking whether this will be some kind of comet of the century. And if you read some news outlets, they imply that. I don't personally think that's very likely. I think it'll be a nice comet, and it looks as though it's holding up for that. But it's unlikely, I suspect, to be as easy to see as, say, Neowise was in 2020 during the COVID year, the first COVID year, or for that matter, say, Hale-Bopp in the late 1990s, which many of us still remember as being a really dazzling object. It's looking promising. It was discovered, there were expectations it could be really genuinely very bright indeed, possibly bright enough to be seen in daylight. Then it didn't quite reach those, but recently it's actually been matching predictions, and that's not bad. So I think we can assume that if it makes it round the Sun, if it makes it round the perihelion point, the closest point to the Sun, and emerges in the evening sky, then we'll have an object that's actually decent, that you'll be able to see it either with your eye or at least easily with a pair of binoculars. I would think that you're going to need a pair of binoculars to pick it out, or a telescope if you have the right kind of telescope with a wide field and you know exactly where to look. But who knows, it might be visible to the naked eye as well. We'll just have to wait and see. Now, after that brief window, it then moves around the Sun, and it's visible in the evening sky, and that's roughly from around the 12th of October onwards. And so from that time on, you need to be looking in the west after sunset, and as the sky darkens, try and have a look at it. There are finder charts, and these are provided by my friend Stuart Atkinson. They're wonderful. They show you where it's going to be at the different dates. Consult things like that. It'll make it much easier to find. But I think my general advice for hunting something like a comet is use your eyes, but also use a pair of binoculars, sweep around. If it's as bright as expected, hopefully it'll be fairly obvious to pick up. As with anything in astronomy, it really helps if you get away from the lights of cities and towns and find a dark space, particularly with something like a comet, where you've got these very subtle details. The details are, even if they're good, will be faintish, and it really helps to be under a dark sky. Having said that, when it's in twilight, that makes less of a difference, but I do still think it's a good idea to get away from lights that interfere with the view in any case. And people have asked too about how you can photograph it. Well, the answer is, it helps if, say, you have a good DSLR camera, so digital SLR, and you can take a series of exposures. A lot of astrophotographers use those very successfully. If it's bright, it might almost be possible to point and shoot with something like that and get a good image. People will do things as well, like try and take pictures of the center of the comet, the nucleus, with a telescope, and that's another technique too. You can also, if you have a good mobile phone camera and a small telescope, you can hold the mobile phone against the eyepiece of the telescope and try and take a picture that way. That worked well with comets like Neowise. It might work well with this one, depending on how bright it is. And if it's genuinely easy to spot, you might just be able to pick up your mobile phone, rest on something is always good advice, and just point and shoot. But we won't know that, I think, for a few weeks yet. Let's wait and see how it emerges after it's come around the Sun. If it's genuinely very bright, that would be a lot of fun. And please do share your pictures with us. Tag us on social media and we'll happily amplify them. We love to share pictures in the public and our fellows and everybody else who has an interest in astronomy.